Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome back to the stream. It is I, DIGI Driver, coming to you live on Sunday, December 17th at 2:50 p.m. It's a little bit later than my usual Sunday startup, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting to be streaming today. I I'd gotten into the habit of doing Friday night streams, so to speak, because of schedule changes, but at the same time, we're here, so let's make the most of it. I am going to be doing some scenery development first inside of Blender, and then we'll see what happens. If we wrap up at a fairly decent time, I'll probably go in the sim and go flying. Hey, I often think about this, and I think we've resolved this before, but brain, so I forgot. What is the preferred pronunciation? Because I see your username and I see Kev Mike WA. Do you like Kev Mike, Kev? Let me know. Hawker, hey, good to see you, friend. Very happy to have you. Oh, before I say anything else, weather precaution. Kev works, and that's an easy. Thank you so much, Kev. There's a lot of rain going through my area. I do live in the Mid-Atlantic states, so um, there is a small but non-zero chance that the stream might cut out all of a sudden if I lose power for whatever reason. It's not because of particularly strong storms, not as far as I know, but some kind of flooding situation, whatever. It sometimes happens when there's a lot of rain that comes through. It didn't used to be an issue. It's a thing now. So there you go. I don't know, man. Maybe sometime in the future we can meet up, Kev. Who knows? But in terms of travel, in terms of upcoming things, I am trying to get started. Not started. I'm trying to figure out how to get to Flight Sim Expo this year. Mrs. DG and I want to go, and it would be great to go and to see a lot of faces that I've seen, or to basically spend time with a lot of people that I haven't actually had the privilege of meeting. But we are once again back at Paulding Northwest Atlanta Airport, Kilo Papa Uniform Juliet, and I think I'm almost wrapped up with most of the texture work for the terminal building. So, what can I do? I can probably swap out the texture on the bottom here. Maybe change this. But let me take a look at the actual things. Underneath the roofing material, there seems to be like not quite plaster, but basically a covering. It's not this all the way under. So I'm probably going to do some simple texture replacements, and then we're going to um, clean up and then work on potentially the other hangar. And believe it or not, there's not that much left to do in that airport. If I was to go ahead and say release that for sim market or some place or some locale, I would probably not charge that much for the airport. I mean, cost of labor and whatnot, but yeah, not much. So, um, let's do that. Let me go ahead and replace some textures and we'll get started. So, this up here, yes, I was about to say that should be a separate piece. I'm probably going to replace that with the smooth stucco for now. I don't know if that's actually what I should be doing, but it looks pretty close to it in the PureRef picture, which you guys see on the left side of your screen. So this is what you guys would see, and the picture in the upper right is basically what I'm going to be doing under the roof. So let me get started. We're going to choose the smooth stucco, and we're going to assign it to that texture, and blammo. It may not be 100% realistic, but it's going to get the job done, and I'm okay with that right now. I think I need to do that in a few more places, and this is going to be a 1.0 with no interior right now. I'm just focusing on wrapping up the texture cleanup, making sure the textures actually look decent, and then we're going to apply, what am I trying to say? We're going to apply some polish to everything. So I hope everybody's having a very good Sunday afternoon. It is, in my opinion, flat out unbelievable that we are barreling in on the end of the holiday season, the Christmas season, and it's literally going to be here before I can even snap my fingers. It's just crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can. Mrs. Digi and I actually got a chance to enjoy it significantly last time we were out, and man, we had a good time. We went to go spend time with some friends delivering Christmas cards, and then we got to eat some good food. And by the time I got back home, I was just done, tired, but a bit happy. Not gonna lie. Let's take you and project you correctly. Hmm. Let's scale you out a bit more. Good enough for now. All right, so now what we can do is actually make this reflective and then leave it like that for right this instant. Take both these and make it window shiny, and we basically have a 1.0 door just to get the front of this thing looking good and spiffy. And okay, so we're like, oh yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I like I when I go out and when I do stuff, I'll sometimes ride the mental tires to like the metal radial, and then I'll just be like, oh, I gotta eat something, and then a recharge, take a few minutes, and then get back into it. But this weekend went by so fast. Free. Blender definitely free, and don't even take this version of Blender as what you'd expect it to be, because I'm actually using an outdated version of it. I'm using an old version of Blender, and um, my friends have been pointing me to use the newer version, which is think is like I think they're about to hit version 4 or something, or they're probably already there. I was familiar with version 3 something, and sheesh, I mean, what? There's there's much available now. Is this is this upside down? I think it is. Let's see. Is it? Oh, it was. Yeah. But yeah, no question about it. There's been significant updates and changes to, I'm sure there's been significant updates and changes to the way that Blender works. So again, like I said, do not under any circumstances take my experience with Denver with Blender to be to be the representation of what you should expect. This is just convenient for me since I've been using it for such a long time. And I do plan on retiring this version of Blender at some point in the not too distant future, because things like, newer projects and having to use a version that will allow me to make either better or easier attempts at texturing and building models. So that's where we find ourselves today. But welcome aboard, everybody. I'm glad to have you here, whether you are watching live or on the replay, whether you are chatting with us or just lurking in the background while you're getting things done. It's nice to have you. I have my pets with me behind me, taking a nap, and Mrs. Digi is hard at work with her Christmas projects. and I will probably be with you guys until I'd say about maybe like 5:30 ish Eastern time. Seems fair. Seems decent. I hope your Christmas season has been a wonderful one. I won't lie, mine has been a bit more sentimental than I was expecting it to be. And there are plenty of people whom I miss, some of them quite significantly. Some of whom are, just out of state, some of whom are no longer with any of us. And, uh, you know, all I can do is miss them. But I am grateful. I'm grateful for Mrs. Digi. I'm grateful for the support of my family and my friends and the community. And I am here to do some texture work and to see if we can't make this thing look epic and maybe even do a test placement and see what it looks like in the actual airport. Because I went to Kilo Papa Uniform Juliet in the sim, and there are no buildings. The default renderer did not provide any default buildings at all for the airport. Which, I mean, isn't a problem since we're replacing them. So, in one sense, it almost makes my job a little bit easier because there's nothing getting in my way of placing buildings where I want them to go. Still a little bit too big. That's good. That's good. Here we go. I would probably say if I doubled down on this airport, there aren't that many buildings. We're talking about buildings and landmarks and things that would look nice when placed. So maybe January? Maybe? Probably. I mean, there's there's plenty of other projects that are queued up that I should be giving attention to, but that's just how my brain works, I guess. I kind of use projects to draw inspiration off of each other. So, in one sense, it'll be done when it's done, but at the same time, it's nice to know that I can actually, what am I trying to say? It's nice to know that I can keep working on this. I would probably imagine mid to late January if I'm actually going to release something on Sim Market. And between the both of us, I'm also contemplating other possible streams as well in terms of um, selling products elsewhere. I've debated the idea of making my own website again. I've debated the idea of of also using a different vendor. It depends. It depends. I've got some thoughts in my head. I just don't know which direction I want to go in. Yeah, if I focused on this one, it wouldn't take long to actually finish releasing. At least I'd like to think it wouldn't. I've said, oh yeah, it's not gonna take that long, and then it takes a while. But I don't think it would take that long if I buckle down. I don't think so. Mm, oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So I was working on the textures for this 1 or 2 nights ago, and I am trying to fix this as quickly as I can because I'd like to place it. And my friend Trip Taker has inspired me to do this airport. Anytime you have people that request airports that live, like near the property, and that are able to provide me with info, there's that push to want to get the project done sooner for them because I know that they're in the area. I know that they probably try to fly out of that airport in MSFS, and they're not, they're not like ultra pleased with how the airport looks. So they're hoping somebody can give it, a fresh coat of paint. And, here I am trying to make it happen. But if there's one thing I learned this year, it's definitely that there are limits on the extent to which you can continue to put polish and shine on a project. You can you can you can keep working on something until you think it's done, and people keep telling you, dude, just release it, just release it. Now, I mean, that's kind of a different discussion, but I know there's a line between, hey, like, let's get this done now, and no, this isn't ready to go out. Like, I know that. So that's what I'm playing with right now. And unfortunately, texturing is one of those things where it's like you either it's either something you can get done relatively quickly, or it's one of those things that's going to take you a while to finish. Fortunately, today we're mostly doing um, tweaks, adjustments. So I don't see this taking too long, to the extent where I probably am going to do a flight in the sim. DIGI flying in the simulator, it's incredible. If if you don't catch the humor, basically I was doing flight simulator streams, like dedicated flight simulator streams, for a long time. And then I got to the point where I burnt out, and I wanted to I was debating what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to stop streaming altogether or go away. And then, like in the spring of 2022, I got turned back into creating scenery for airports for people, and it stuck with me ever since. as as much as I try to put it down or walk away from it, it's one of those things where it's like the thing that you do with your time, you what's the best way I can say it? It's like it's stuck to you and you can't get rid of it. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, you're like, well, like, that isn't working out. And then, like, you walk away for a couple of days, not even weeks, and you're like, but what if I tried this? And you're like, oh, I thought I was gonna take a break from this. But at the same time, that's what's funny about it. The thing that sometimes frustrates you the most is what actually, all of a sudden gives you inspiration to try a different approach or a different answer to a problem. So that's where I am. Hmm. I wonder why I didn't actually map all those faces together. Probably because I didn't see it. That's probably why. But that's where I've been for the past week. And also, somewhere else I've been for the past couple of months. Very, 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 very busy. Like, you know how you get to a place where you're like, oh wow, like, how's it going? Oh, I'm busy. Like, this isn't that kind of busy. It's the kind of busy where you kind of start to wonder, hey, shouldn't I be gearing down a bit instead of trying to do as much stuff as I can? And I'm not even talking about, like, you knowing you have a whole bunch of projects you want to get done. I'm talking about the kind of busy that doesn't give you a chance to stretch your legs or to catch a breath. And then you're like, well, like, I need to figure out what to do here, because I'm tired all the time, or I wanna be able to do life differently. And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm trying to figure out what it is that I need to do to kind of um even the scenario tip the scales back towards me actually um, being a bit more chill with my time. But that's it. Meanwhile, we got lots of texture correction to do. I wonder if I could actually select all of these and do them in one shot. Well, only one way to find out. I've selected all these pieces, and now we're going to Smart UV Project. Okay. All right, let's see how the adjustments work. Oh, really? So it looks like it's this side. That might work, but that won't. Hmm. Okay, so pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, it seems like certain points are attached together. So I kind of have an idea of what I need to do, what I want to do, and now I can make those adjustments individually. But that saves me some time. I don't have to adjust every single block together. And in one sense, if I chose the path of least resistance and, you know, made a blanket adjustment to all these, I don't know. I might start employing certain shortcuts just to save myself some headache when I'm doing texture wrapping. Because that doesn't look that bad, but at the same time, I don't know how this works. Yeah, those two are contained. So I guess I'd have to adjust these two individually. In one sense, I could say texturing is a bit of a quiet, really reserved, not lonely, but definitely niche option to share time on stream. But it's my choice. And I do like being able to do this. Maybe one day do it for a living. And that's also something that I've been thinking about over the past, I'd say, few months. Trying to figure out what it is I want to do. And I think there's, at least in my mind, things I'm trying to determine. Like, is it is it something that I um, want to do? Is it something that I don't want to do? But I tell you what, I think the experience of the past um, year, if I could describe it in one word, it would probably be reflection. Lots of reflection. Because on the one hand, if I would have kept going full bore on this, I don't know if I would have been as delayed as I would have, I probably would have cranked some projects out way sooner. But I also think if I did that, I wouldn't have paid attention to certain people in my life nearly as much. And I like when you get yourself involved with a hobby, you I don't know if you're like me, but there are points at which the the time that you spend doing it, you have to acknowledge these are things that, you know, are these things that you want to continue to focus that much energy into? It gets difficult. It gets difficult determining the extent to which you want to be involved in something. And I also think if if flight sim streaming as a whole could actually be defined in one word in 2023, it would be changes, fairly significant ones. I mean, I remember I I forget where it was. I'm sorry, I forget where I was when Chewy 94 announced that, hey, he's taking on a position with Asobo as community manager, and I'm like, what? He's not streaming anymore? But he put that one to rest really fast. He's like, no, I'm still streaming. It's just gonna be on a different schedule. And I think, by and large, um, Chewy has demonstrated, you know, continuing commitment to his community and to Microsoft Flight Simulator, the Microsoft Flight Simulator community at large, which, in my opinion, was a great step. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, I don't blame him for an instant if that's what he wants to do, and he saw the opportunity and he took it. I think it's a very clutch move in terms of saying, okay, hey, I like doing this, but I want to make sure that I am, what am I trying to say, that I can actually do something which is going to benefit me now and into the future. All right, so these textures are a little too stretched out. I am fixing them up as we go. The beautiful thing about Stoneface is that you can basically have significant differences or variations, and you don't have to freak out about how they look. Okay, I think that one needs to be reversed. Yep. All right, I'm going to put some stone face here as well and a reflective door, and then we're going to keep going on this wall because the stucco is actually pretty good as is. I'm probably going to replace this though, and before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and save my work because I need to. Hey, coffee cup arcade. Oh my word, the secret of Monkey Island. I never played through the whole game, but I've watched it multiple times. That's actually a pretty interesting game. Wow. That's superb. Thank you, Coffee Cup Arcade. And folks, again, as usual, um, my manners are missing. My friend Kev, or Kev Mikwa, and Honker 125, even though it's been a while since Kev streamed, They are actually technically still streamers, so go ahead and pay them a follow. And of course, Coffee Cup Arcade is a great person to follow for SID tunes and game music, music from different systems like I think the Amiga, the Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum, and I've hung out in Coffee Cup Arcade stream, listening to music and getting work done on stuff. So definitely pay Coffee Cup Arcade a follow if you like video game music or if you like the occasional arcade game playthrough, which he actually did a few nights ago. So there we go. You're very welcome, Kev, and much, much love to you as well, Coffee Cup Arcade. You've been a friend, and you and I have had some pretty interesting dev chats over the last several months. So glad to have you aboard. You have another 100 postcards to try. You're going to be quite busy. Wow. Very nice. Very nice indeed. All right, let's slap a stucco loaf on this. I'm kind of stucco on it. Ha! But psh. Yes, I went there. All right. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Do I want to do that now or later? Later, later. I'm going to work on these posts for these columns once we're done, because those are more metallic. That's like the core of the actual posts themselves. But I got to keep working on these textures. So I see Kev has appreciated my sense of humor. uh I what can I say? Corny jokes are my thing. Absolutely. The cornier the better. Like, if I can if I can hear someone's eyes rolling, like that's my job done. But all seriousness aside, I do like to spend time uh, helping people in that sense. So my corny jokes are a bit of a service I provide, complimentary, but it's not too bad. We don't have that much to go. If I can get this wall done, and there's not that much to fix, we'll have most of this place actually ready for actual, I don't know, placement? Gulp? Okay. We are going to put. Ooh, you know what I need to do? I need to, I think, grab these line segments and what is it? I think it's bevel. I have to bevel these. Let's see. Is it? Yes. Yes, actually. Okay. Okay. So I can't pick them all. I kind of wish I could, but we're going to choose these line segments and pull them out. It may not be immediately obvious what I'm doing, but I'm creating some divisions. Oh, thank you so much, Coffee Cup Arcade. And by the way, I did I did actually finish the Sid copy late last night. I know I know you were helping me through that. You were like emotionally supporting me as I was copying because the process of copying all those SID files to my flash drive, it was just irritatingly slow. And then I tried to use it on the C64 Maxi, and I'm like, oh no, it's not being recognized. And it instantly just washed over my soul. I'm like, DIGI, it's not FAT32. And I'm like, no. Ugh, your jokes are as endearing as they are occasionally nauseating. Then I know I'm doing it right. Yeah, so I get the feeling that those of us that are in chat and chatting right now understand a very or fairly similar epoch of gaming. So definitely, definitely, we're close. You know, we're pals. Okay, so I put a little bit of a divot here. We're gonna replace these with like a standard metal texture or color, and then we'll just have the reflective windows. But for now, like my prelim version is just as quick and as hacky sacky as I can make it. Oh my word. The mouse. Wow. And honestly, that's not a bad price either. The mouse, the gamepad, um, compatible with the A500. Okay, so I have the C64 Maxi, but are you saying that this will work with that as well? Oh man. Okay, so PC, I mean, okay, clearly, that's fine. That's fine. I'll probably pick one up. I'll probably pick one up. That's so cool. Coffee Cup Arcade, like, why have we not hung out more? I feel like you're one of the video game dudes that I grew up with. I mean, not because I knew you, but I'm saying like you would have been one of the folks that I would have grown up with playing like classic, in my universe, DOS, computer games and like having silly, insignificant arguments about, what class of character to use in an RPG or playing strategy games and stuff like that. I- I- I'm sincerely hoping that I can actually get a chance to go out to Vegas for Expo because I thought you said you were from the area, and if that's the case, then scratch out a little bit of time, to say hi and to catch up. Because, like I said, if I go to if I go to Vegas for Expo, Expo is going to be like, okay, you know, half of what I do or maybe less. It's just meeting people. That's what I want to go for. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. We I think people in here understand each other. Defo. So there we go. Let me continue. Saving my progress. I wish I could pick all of these and have them all behave the same way, but I don't know. I don't know that's going to be the way it's going to work. Oh, hold on. I don't like how squishy these are. And yes, that would be the technical term, squishy. Are they the right way? I think so. I think so. And fix these. Yeah, of course. They're gonna be like that. Are they though? Hold on. That seems a lot better. Yep. Texture modification, kind of, sort of, not for the squeamish. Well, not squeamish. For the boardish, it takes a while. Exactly, exactly. We became famous friends almost instantly. Yeah, yeah. Seriously, seriously. And you have some epic achievements under you. We've let's just say we've been through epic projects in our own respective corners of the universe. Mine have been nowhere near as involved in the entertainment industry as yours have, but I've the both of us have experienced epic adventures and epic fails in certain ways. So it's very nice to have you here, and I'm very glad to have all of you guys here. I appreciate you guys being here and just to say hi. Um, it like I said this before. This is basically what it's about. It's about me spending time here working on this and having you guys come alongside for the fun. It's 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 not about, although hey, not gonna lie, uh, it would be nice for it to be about some extra cha-ching, but um, it's not a requirement. To have you guys here simply chatting is, and I do mean this sincerely, like I'm not even kidding. I appreciate that. Your your um your spending time here is welcome, because we crack corny jokes and we talk about stuff that matter to us, coming up as kids and teenagers. Maybe someday it can be cha-ching. Yeah, that this is why we're working on it. This is exactly why we're working on it, and I'm hoping for the day when it does actually become cha-ching. Until then, it's a nice way to catch up with everybody. And honestly, if I time this right, I probably will go flying and work on this a little bit more tonight, put the polish on it, and do a placement if I don't get to place it today. Because I do like flying, I do like doing stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to fly P3D or X-Plane or MSFS. Um, Coffee Cup Arcade, I think you saw me fly MSFS before if you stuck around. I might do that today, or I might actually try one of the other sims. I might give you a taste of some of the more classic influence, since I am classically trained. Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I think I might do that to show you the prior kind of echelon of technology that a lot of us, some of us, cut our virtual teeth on in terms of doing flights in the sim. And the amazing thing is that it, in many ways, is still a standard that a lot of people live by. Um, some folks, they use Microsoft Flight Simulator, you know, X Steam Edition from the Steam platform, and they're very happy with that. I don't know if there are that many people that do it anymore, but some might even still use FS 2004. And I flew that sim for a while, so it was neat. It was definitely neat. I had a bunch of add-ons for it. I think in some ways, and you guys can laugh, and that's okay. Judge away. I think FS 2004 was the last kind of silly use of time for me in a simulator. And I say silly, and I mean like doing things which had absolutely no basis for reality. Like, for example, flying a Bell 222 helicopter with an Airwolf skin and hovering back and forth between between buildings because I could. It was great. The freeware flowed like champagne back in the FS 2004 days. And I think to a certain extent it still does now with MSFS. The community support and on websites like flightsim.to, and I think to an extent still AvSim is wonderful. But Um, I'm a nostalgic. I like the old school. I like being able to being able to enjoy and appreciate what it was that all of us grew up with. And I remember for a long time it was what I wanted but couldn't afford. And what can you say? I mean, things happen, you grow up, you really appreciate certain aspects of your hobby, and there are certain things you stop doing. Maybe because you got tired of waiting for things to improve and you found something else that, caught your attention. Maybe because you you like motorcycles now and you used to like automobiles. Maybe it's because you you like um, potato chips and you grew up eating pretzels. Eh, eh, You know, people change. People change. We grow up or we grow out of things. I mean, I'm happy to be here. I am happy to be alive right now. As a believer, as a born again Christian, I do feel like it's very important to take into account the life that's been extended to you and to live it to the fullest. I believe that's through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And I extend that invitation to anybody that wants to know more. But no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what you believe, I'm happy to have you here. I hope that your afternoon is going okay. And if it's not, I hope and pray that it improves in Jesus' name. So, we are shrinking these textures down because I think I want them to be a bit more granular. Well, smaller. That would be the term. And let's go. Let's go this way. Maybe stretch it a bit more. Yeah. I didn't expect myself to be creating objects of this much complexity, but I'm glad I undertook the challenge. I'm glad I did. Let's choose these two, replace them with the stucco texture, assign, and scale them both, ad infinitum, and there we go. Okay, so, oh my word, believe it or not, this ain't looking too shabby. I'm kinda pleased. So we're going to give it a new revision and we're going to clean up some textures. First thing we're going to do before we forget is we're going to clean up these poles and make them the shiny metallic poles that they should be. And there aren't that many of them, so this shouldn't be a problem. We're going to choose, not windows, gutter drain. There we go. Gutter drain, they're very metallic and I don't think they're designed to be reflective. So it's kind of like the metal I-beams in buildings, which is kind of what I'm shooting for. Um, we're not gonna go bananas with 8K textures on like 1,000 facets of a building. If you've got the VRAM for it, great. I know I don't, so I'm gonna try to save VRAM for my users wherever I can. Gotcha. Thank you, my friend. Take your time. All right. Which reminds me, let me think. It's coming on 4 o'clock in another, I'd say, hour and a half. I'm probably going to grab a coffee. It might be when I wrap up the stream, or if I'm still going at 5:30, I might take a break from the flight deck just to grab some coffee and just make sure Mrs. DG is doing okay. So I think I chose all these. Yes, I did. Okay. So that would take care of these pillars. And then we're going to do the same with the bottom ones and do the same with the pillars on the other side of the building because we need to. Once again, folks, good afternoon. Welcome to the stream. If you're new, if you've just wandered in here, on a whim and you're noticing some weird dude texturing buildings and wondering when the world's going on, I am designing scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I am creating the terminal building, or I think the fixed base operator, or FBO, for Paulding Northwest Atlanta Airport. This is Kilo Papa Uniform Juliet. That is the ICAO code. So this building does not exist in the default scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I'm creating it so that the building can actually be there. Oh, excuse me. Give me stone face. Thank you. I need to select these faces and assign a new texture to them. That's how it works. There we go. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Low polys for the win. I mean, high polys, if you're going to have something that you're going to be looking at a lot, I can understand. And, confession, I am not pro level yet. And even the pros have things that they're learning about the textures that they're using. So definitely not something that I am up on in terms of experience or knowledge. But I've been teaching myself Blender and had the fortunate blessing of many of my friends stepping in and helping me and offering me suggestions, many of which I forget. But brain power aside, again, I am extremely fortunate and blessed to be in the company of great people that are helping me to grow my knowledge, to do a better job. So that's where we are. Okay. Now those things are away. I might try pushing this out a bit more because I don't like how close it is to the edge. And we've got loads of room. All right, let's move this out. This is kind of like the mental equivalent of putting form form fitted sheets on a bed. And you're like, okay, is this side done? Is this side done? It's like, it's not done. But yeah, that's where I am. Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to design a major international airport, it's probably going to be a very good idea that your polygon count is not absurd unless there are specific portions of your airport that need to have high poly counts. Like, a prominent window that looks into a major concourse of your airport terminal, a a you know a highly visible area of the airport that you taxi over or that you fly over, something like that, like at low altitude. So those things might require higher polygon counts, but at least at this stage of me creating scenery, I'm not there yet. There's plenty of stuff that you can pick out that are going to be inconsistencies, and that's okay. I welcome your criticism because, I'm certainly not there yet as an individual scenery designer, developer. So it ain't there. It ain't there. bit. Okay, great. Oh, not quite. Uh, so I should be able to select all the sides, almost all the sides. Okay, I goofed. I had to pick the texture and then assign it. And one more to, well, two more to go, excuse me. But yeah, I am creating scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is for what's also known as FS 2020. And believe it or not, it's not going to be that much longer until we start talking about scenery for FS 2024, because that's going to be around the corner. And I mean, grind the rumor mill some more. Do you think it's going to be out in 2024? Do you think it's going to be in summer, in fall 2024? I don't know what their release schedule is. No one's told me, at least. But if I had to hazard a guess, I would probably imagine that it would be like early fall. I keep gravitating towards early fall, even if the even if the understood possibility is like summer or spring. But that's my theory. Oh wow. This is kind of amazing. All right. I need to do a few more things. I'm probably going to leave some of these uncolored pieces. What can I do? It's going to be a bit tricky. Or I can probably hide some of these polygons, like all the awning supports, and then I'd be able to see all the individual pieces. So, okay. All right. I'm going to give these guys a really quick paint and probably use the metallic paint. Maybe keep the middles white, but let me see what they look like IRL. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Thanks for the reminder. Um, that should work. It's just a certain, scenery developer streamer who shall remain nameless, decided to forget to turn on the CloudBot. So now if I go to CloudBot and type !lurk, it should work. Or is it just because I'm running the command myself? No. There we go. Now it should work. So, ba-ba-da-ba. There we go. Okay. Now it works. Thanks for the reminder. Okay. Okay. Hoping a closed browser window is going to give me some more horsepower. And now I need to choose all these. This is going to be ultra annoying, and I do mean ultra annoying. But I'm going to probably, what's the best way I can do this? The best way would be probably choosing all of these first and applying the gutter drain color to them. And then after I've chosen them, then I can just pick a certain face. I'm all about being lazy. All about being lazy. Because apparently, I think it was Bill Gates that once said, you hire lazy people because they find the most efficient solution to a problem. I mean, if they don't do their jobs, there's a risk of being fired, but I'm on board with that. All right, so I have to choose these facets and probably apply a default face. Now, I am almost curious about something. Work with me a moment, chat. Let me see these pictures that I have. Yeah, I get it. The lights in here are actually bright. Did I actually change this? I did. Good. So in here, those are actually lit. So I wonder what's up. Sogen Okami, hello, my friend. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Um, Congrats on your recent, YouTube video post. DCS is looking quite ultra on your new setup. My hat's off to you. Very happy for you. We're doing some scenery development, and I'm probably going to be doing some flying shortly. So I'm going to figure that out in a bit. Meanwhile, we are doing some texturing, and I am trying to figure out the best way of doing this, but I think I already have. I'm going to create a new material, and I'm going to call it just generic light cover. And we're going to keep it that way, assign it, and it's just bright. And then we might make those emissive textures in and of themselves. But welcome aboard, friend. Yeah, I mean, once upon a time I did a teensy bit of DCS because I had a strong curiosity for the A10. Plus, there were a whole bunch of sales going on when the pandemic was, for lack of a better phrase, raging. So, you know, like we all, or many of us, got curious by DCS and decided to try it, myself included. But I don't do DCS right now because life, because busy, because flight sim. Generic light cover. There we go. This will work nicely. And let's see, does that work? Uh, okay, it's got to be closer. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. Taking me longer than I'd like, but that's okay. Yeah, I thought there was only one version of it, unless you're talking about Steam. I got the DCS version at one point straight from them, straight from I guess, the publisher. Maybe I'm wrong. And assign cover done. Okay, almost there. Almost. Because I don't think those require it. We're like right next to the door anyway. And we're going to assign a texture, generic light cover. We got two more to go. Two more to go. I think I got the open beta literally back in 2020. I never spent that much time in it, but I don't recall having trouble with it. Obviously, there could have been untold scores of changes to the code since then. Like I said, that was literally like 3 years ago, so it's amazing. That was like 3 years ago. It's unbelievable. Okay. Nope, no, no. Generic light cover. There we go. And now I can save my work. I can reattach the awnings, and now we have things for light, which don't emit light yet, but stick with me. I'm working on it. All right, so we got to do this here too. I wonder. Awning supports are gone. Can I choose all the lights and assign them? No, gotta be one at a time. At least it looks like it has to be. Self-inflicted pain because I'm using an outdated version of Blender. I'm working on that. I'm working on that. Just gotta finish some scenery first. And then we choose that. All right, so same thing I did before. Just wish there was a faster way to do it. It's okay. One thing I definitely like about commands in Blender is that if you make bad selections, you can actually undo the deselection process, which saves me from having to click on a whole bunch of, facets or polygons or whatever to make stuff work like it used to. I would say though, in terms of my life right now, um, I'm not gonna lie. I've been way busier than I would have liked to have been, and there's certain things about my life that I would probably change if I had the ability to do so, and I do believe I do. So it's a question of me disciplining myself to handle it. There's certain challenges, certain tasks that I have to accomplish that it's like, you know, those things that you have to do that you have to do, and whether they're difficult conversations or um, like responsibilities that have to get done, finals that have to be written, you know, car maintenance that has to be paid for, stuff like that. I don't know if there's a soul alive on the planet that doesn't have something they have to do they don't want to do. But I I'm hoping for wisdom to be able to tackle more of the things that I want to do, excuse me, more of the things that I have to do over the next few weeks and months. Kids are sorted. Welcome back, Coffee Cup Arcade. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your content. Oh, by the way, Sogan, if you haven't already done so, stream speak. If you haven't already done so, Sogan, please drop a link to your YouTube channel so that we can check your content out now and later. Um, I will say, folks, I have been quite surprised by some of the content that I've seen on Sogan's channel. It's made me kind of sit up and take notice about certain things he's covered. Also, he's covered some really, really interesting stuff with regards to Flight Sim. Um, whether we're talking about technology differences between MSFS and X-Plane, or I think, oh no, I know you covered the Legacy Flight Sim World Sim by Dovetail Games, which I actually have a copy of, and of course isn't for sale anymore since they pulled the product from places like the Steam store. But it's great nostalgia fuel. Plus, no matter how imperfect those volumetric clouds were, it was great to finally see non-sprite clouds in a sim and just kind of marvel at them for a while. Plus, I mean, at the time, it almost felt like that was going to be the FS 2020 of its day in terms of graphical prowess, but they were held back, I think, by certain clear things like FS 2020 being about to be released in about, you know, 2.5 years after that, which wasn't that long as it turned out. So there you go. Hey, 16K and Freestyler. I was like, woo! Ah, man. Well, if you insist. Yes, yes. There are more videos that I haven't watched that I probably should take some time to sit down and watch. And if I have the opportunity to do so on some downtime in the days to come, I might just do that. So, let me think. The time is almost 4:15. And I can place scenery in the sim, but since there aren't any other buildings at Paulding anyway, I'm probably going to test placement either tonight or this week. I'm going to save my changes, and I think I'm going to take a quick break, stretch my legs for a few seconds, check up on Mrs. Digi, and then take a plane up for a flight, do some flying either in the northern Midwest or in Canada somewhere, maybe in Alaska. Not real time though, but I'd have to scale back time even more because there's not that much time, not much light up there. Or I might go to Europe or Northern Africa. Where do I want to fly? Where do I want to fly? Oh, you know what? While I'm not flying, I should probably do things like update my Navigraph stuff. Fly over Egypt. Okay, you got it. Um, there are clearly defined pyramids there, and we don't even have to spend a lot of time filing a flight plan. I could do a discovery flight just so I could show you what the scenery looks like down there. Also, it's been a very long time since I've been there in a sim to begin with, so yeah, that's a thing. Hold on. Okay, approve. And now I should be able to update my AirX cycle, update the G1000 avionics plugin, and the PMDG 737. Ah, yes, I spent a little bit of time messing around with flying those. Is that what you call an atoll, Sogan? South of the Japanese mainland? But yeah, I've been to maybe one or two of those places. I also flew up to I think Sendai, which I think was where the nuclear power plant failed, just to see where the nuclear power plant was. It didn't have anything major, any obvious landmarks, but I think I figured out where it was. So it was kind of a it was a kind of interesting, if you can call it a moment. Let me also take advantage of the ability that I have to update my other AirX cycles. That'll probably take me no more than like maybe 5. You've Fukushima. Thank you. That's where I went. That's where I went. Nice, nice. Um, if I was going to do a bucket list trip to Japan, I would probably spend 25 to 35% of my time in Tokyo and in the areas around it. But I would want to experience so much more of Tokyo. I would want to go to the places where not that many people go to. I would ride the bullet train at least once. Come on now. And I would probably go to Hiroshima. I'd probably go to uh, was it Osaka or Kobe? I would potentially fly up to Honshu, the island of Honshu, to see their parks or their gardens. I'd want to go check out stuff like that. And clearly I would go to check out the technology. Hello. Hokkaido. Hokkaido. The island of Honshu is basically the main island, but Hokkaido is the culture shock. Yeah. I'd want that. I'd want that. I went to I went to Alaska this summer. It was my mind's still blown. Tokyo, Akihabara, and get out of tourist areas and explore some prefectures with local foods as the inspiration. I mean, for me, ramen, 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 lots of soup, and probably taking as much culture as I can in terms of sharing time with people that actually make the food, learn about them, um, have them learn about me. I don't know, like share my culture with them, stuff like that. If you guys are wondering what's going on, I'm just updating some Airac cycles before I get started. But I think we're going to do this. I think we're going to do a couple of fun flights. We're going to fly around Egypt a bit and maybe Japan. We'll see. Scout the coasts since you have several adversarial countries in extreme proximity. A Russian air base just north of the coast on one of the disputed islands. Yeah, yeah, that's it's it's a bit it's a bit of a surprising hotbed of activity. Uh, you know, Japan is in close proximity to South and North Korea and Russia and China and Taiwan, and the Philippines are not that far away either. So, whether they all got along perfectly, but there's a lot of room for misunderstanding. But how far along are we? Yeah, stuck in the middle, for sure, for sure. It it behooves all of us to be able to get along peacefully. I know it's not always the case, but that's always my hope. And hopefully we've learned from each other in terms of prior world wars and things that we can do to um, be better to each other as humans, human beings. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, let me grab some joystick equipment, my joystick and throttle setup, and I am gonna set up for. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a couple of discovery flights. I think one in Japan and one in Egypt. And then once that's done, we're gonna pick a place to fly to. And what I might do is I might do the discovery flights in MSFS, and then we might have some fun with a business jet or two in P3D and see what it looks like. It's about it's about 4:15 now, so between the discovery flights, maybe a landing challenge or two, and a quick business jet flight, that might actually be what we do and how we close out the stream. So, talk amongst yourselves for about a minute or two. The Minecraft music will keep playing, and I will step out, check in on Mrs. Digi, make sure she's good, and then figure it out. Ooh, nicely played, Sogan. So, I mean, I had it in mind to go on P3D anyway, so I might actually do that first. That's a very good idea. All right. Stick around, folks. I shouldn't be more than a minute or two, and then we'll jump into some Sims shortly. Stay tuned. Be right back. I'm laughing to myself because I just came back in the chat and someone said, "Quick, post bread." I have no clue what's going on, but it's funny. Thank you guys. Appreciate you sticking around. We are going to get ready to do some flights next, so we'll keep the music up until I switch over. Hi, the bread. I have no clue why. No clue why, but certainly appreciate the uh, uh, comedic break in the action. All right. So, as promised, we're going to do some flying today. I'm going to probably do a bread equals NA, not available. Hey, King Cobra. God bless you, my brother. I am setting up for some flights. We did some work on the terminal for Paulding Northwest Airport, and I am probably going to do some more scenery work tonight, depending on how I feel and how much stuff I have to get ready. I'm about ready to start preparing to open up P3D, and I just finished updating my AirX cycles. So I'm probably going to break out a business jet, and we're going to do some flying around. But before I do that, let me just go ahead and close up shop, and we will close these down. Some fun times, and that should do it. And now I can go ahead and close this as well. Click goodbye. All right. So, been okay, been busy, been wishing for things to be better, but at the same time, I'm grateful for the opportunities I have, and I'm wondering if I should open up Active Sky. Yes, I should, because I want to fly with realistic weather. As long as the app actually opens up. Hello. At some point, it will. B3 before. No, I want B5 because that's what I have. Business in a business jet, business for business, for business people, to operated by business for businesses, for others businesses. Yes, exactly, exactly. Did you catch that? Good. Now I should be able to find the file location. There we go. Where are you? Open up, please. Let's go. Come on. Open the file location. Thank you so much. Let me open this up as an MN. Because things. Okay, great. Step one. Step one. Sign in. And it's been a while, so I have to reach into my bag of goods to find the things. And where are you? Not there. Man, it's been a while. There we go. Okay. Something reassuring about Active Sky popping up. Okay, so let me fire up P3D at this point. I'm almost tempted to break out the TFDI 717 because that's just a wonderful, weird contraption of an airliner. But I think I'll probably save the airlining for MSFS. You know, Mini PC runs Cyberpunk 170. Months everything on but ray tracing. And also there's an arcade mode for controls. Yes, yes. MSFS what we call FS 2020 or Microsoft Flight Simulator, does have does let you fly with a gamepad if you really want to, and I have, and it is possible. So the controls are going to be, very responsive, extremely sensitive, but at the same time, you should be okay. I would say, I would say, um, even a regular joystick with a twist handle for rudder is probably a very good idea to have. But at the same time, if you only have a gamepad right now, it will use it just fine. Absolutely fine. So don't panic, don't freak out. Just use that and you should be a-okay. You should be able to, assuming, let me think. If you can run 2077 at 170-ish FPS, you probably either have a discrete graphics card in your mini PC or it's attached to a graphics card. So I would probably think your mini PC should easily be able to run Microsoft Flight Simulator with at least a medium graphics preset. Yeah, yeah, I think Soga makes a very good point. Um, Even like using the training missions in the sim when you're flying like the tiny Cessna 152 should introduce you to the basic ideas of flying an aircraft. And, if you've controlled jets in, like, say, Ace Combat with a gamepad, the concept is kind of there. It's just that the controls are going to do different things based on what the buttons are mapped to by default. You can adjust those button mappings in the control options, and I can show you a bit as well once I load up MSFS. Right now, though, we have I'm loading P3D, so you'll see what I mean when I jump in the other sim. In the meantime, let's go ahead and crack into one of my favorite business jets of all time, the Coronado Embraer Phenom 100 business jet. We're going to depart to the north or depart to the which way do I want to go? Where can I go? You know what? We'll fly in California. We're gonna fly from probably San Diego to Palm Springs if I have it installed. Should be a pretty quick flight, and I'm going to set up in the general aviation area. There should be a medium ramp somewhere. Okay, there we go. All right. System time, and it's about 4:24 here, which should mean it's 1:24 over there. Okay. So, Ryzen 9, 3.3 to 4.9, Radeon 680M with 8 gig memory, um, and 32 gigs of 4800 megahertz RAM, a 1 terabyte M2 drive, and a 2 terabyte SSD drive. You should be fine. You should be fine. Oh, you know what? I never installed I never installed uh Orbex San Diego. Or at least if I did, I'm not seeing it from this angle. I'm not sure if you guys can see my screen. Let me fix that. P3D window capture. You should be seeing it now. Oh, no, 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 that's window capture. Got it. Yeah. So let me look around. Actually, no. Huh, that's weird. I don't actually have it installed. Um, that's okay. That's a-okay. This is going to be good enough for right now. Good enough to get us out of San Diego and up to Palm Springs, maybe LA. This is This is the old guard. This is basically Lockheed Martin's take on Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is prepared. It's got some of the some of the best systems modeling, depending on the aircraft. Let me change my comm frequencies since we're not going to be using them. Just switch. Hello? There we go. All right, great. Okay, so right now we're inside the Embraer Phenom. This is a beautiful little aircraft that I like using. And as you can see, it's very detailed. It's made by a company called Carnato, and um, I like it. It's not what some would call a study level aircraft, but yeah, the 7800X 3D is going to really do nicely with MSFS, so you should be fine. I know you are. Okay, so my sound should be good. This is a yoke. I don't know if the official name for it is a ram's horn yoke, but it basically looks like two horns that you kind of grab. It's almost like bicycle or motorcycle handlebars. And in other words, it's kind of like atypical to what you would consider to be the standard, yoke experience or side stick experience if you had an SR-22 or an A320 or something like that. Um, it's kind of a unique plane. Yeah, yeah. 32 gigs of rip jaw. Um, you should be okay. I have 64 gigs in mine, but memory's part of it. Memory is kind of like, let me think. If CPU is your horsepower and GPU is basically more horsepower and turbo, memory is basically like the throughput on your internet connection. You want good throughput. But this is actually a pretty good idea of what you're looking at in terms of default scenery, which is great. I use something called GSX for realism in terms of ground operations. And we're going to, let me think, what are we going to do? I think we're going to prepare for pushback and departure once I've got the airplane set. So, um, the airplane has some things already turned on. It's not cold and dark. Otherwise, I would have had to have done things like, activating the battery, flipping switches. I should probably connect the GPU so my battery doesn't finish discharging. You're about to see my battery was at like 22 volts and it's charging back up to 28, I believe. No, I'm sorry, 24. I've got full fuel and I should have no problem getting out of San Diego and going to Palm Springs. So, with this payware aircraft, you can have 2D versions or use the 3D versions of the panels. I like 2D versions because I'm old school like that, and it allows me to do things like plan flights and do stuff. We are going to prep a flight from San Diego to Palm Springs. Because even with default scenery at Palm Springs, the approach into that area is beautiful. So that's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our planning easier. And yes, yes. I don't know that much about computers, and I would agree with so good. That's a pretty concise and comprehensive explanation. The CPU and the GPU in a modern computer work together to do things in tandem that would have been very difficult to do with older computers or computers that didn't have access to GPUs. Okay, so let me throw a flight plan together really fast inside of SimBrief. and we're going to fly really quickly from San Diego to Palm Springs. Should probably be about a half an hour or so, which should still give me some time to do some discovery flights in Egypt and Japan. So I'm going to go in, sign in to SimBrief. I think I should be able to sign in just now. And now we're going to grab a new flight. It's going to be a departure from San Diego, flying to Palm Springs. We're going to fly the Embraer Phenom 100, and registration is November 6532 Zulu. And I don't care about it. It's going to be roughly an hour of block time, which means about maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes flight time. And it's going to be pretty fast. We're going to be hitting a few waypoints and then going over the thermal VOR and apparently landing to the northwest. So let's generate the flight really quickly. And I'll go over it with you really fast so you guys can see. I will import this into my Navigraph charts plan or thingy. And is there anything that I'm missing or that I shouldn't be showing? I don't think so. Okay, stand by. Where is my... Why can't I see my web browser? That's weird. Did I put B3D over it? B3D stem capture. No, that's that's kind of strange. It should be visible. Oh, that would be why. Okay, so wait, I can't see it? There we go. Great. Done. All right. You're looking at what my flight plan is from San Diego to Palm Springs. All told, from getting inside the plane to getting outside the plane on the ground at Palm Springs, it's going to take us a little bit less than an hour. If we discount all that and we just talk about what it's going to take for us to get off the ground in the plane and back down on the ground at the airport, I'm assuming about 35 to 45 minutes total. We're going to take off from San Diego and we're departing on 27, which means we're going to be taking off to the west, and then we're going to be going probably just past Mission Bay and going direct to the Julian VOR. Then we're going to follow the Warren waypoint to the thermal VOR and landing at Palm Springs. We'll be landing at Palm Springs to the northwest, and while we could conceivably land on 31 left, we can also land on 31 right. The only problem is we're going to be landing pretty quickly. We're not going to be landing at like 60 or 70 knots like we would in a Cessna 152 or 172. We're probably going to be landing closer to 100, 120 knots or faster. So a little bit more spare room would be nice. And don't worry about us not having enough room. We could probably bleed off at the run-up area or the threshold if we needed to. Not that I'm planning on it. When we land, we're probably going to exit at Gulf and come back down to general aviation parking, which is north of the terminal. And it's probably going to be default scenery because for whatever reason, I either don't have the scenery installed anymore or it got deleted somehow. And we're probably going to do a visual approach, but let me see. Oh, there are navs. There are no ILS approaches. So that's cool. We're going to land RNAV Zulu 31 left, and we're going to go from thermal, and then that's it. So now I know what I'm going to use, and I can probably just pick a standard departure out of San Diego. So I think it's just going to be the Birder 7 departure with a few waypoints, a left turn just north of the Mexico border, and then again up to Julian. Thank you, Coffee Cup Arcade. It is a privilege having you aboard, friend. All right. So now that we know what we're doing, more or less, we're going to go ahead and start picking a flight plan. So, Birder 7, we got to pick runway 27, and the transition should be Julian. And now we know, and we say load with enter, and bam. Now we have that curve in place like we did before. So, the next thing we need to do is to load the approach for Palm Springs. We don't have an arrival. We're not using a standard instrument arrival because we're basically getting the thermal, hook a left, and land. So we're going to use the RNAV. Hmm. Okay. I think that means GPS, but we're going to use the RNAV 31 Zulu, RNAV 31 left, excuse me, and we're transition at the thermal waypoint, which is Tango Romeo Mike. And we're going to load that, but we're not going to activate it. And now, if we zoom out, you see my entire flight plan has already been plotted. And if I take a look at my flight plan directly, you can see my departure, my flight to Julian, and then my approach is going to be thermal. Uh, and which waypoint is that? Let me see. Let me see if I can find that on the flight plan page. Okay, so we're going to be taking the left, the plot on the left side. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it. So we're going to be going on the bottom side of the circuit, and then we're going to approach the airport through these waypoints and eventually land. And if we have to, we go missed, and I believe Tanfi is on the way out. So if for some reason we mess up and we have to go around, Tanfi will take us back out to Banpi, which will take us out to the thermal VOR, so we can try it again. So this is one of those rare moments when I have an entire flight plan prepped and ready to go, and it's superb. It just works. I don't have to worry about tuning an ILS frequency. This is this is way easier to do from the perspective of flying a flight plan. And I also have I also have altitudes set. So those altitudes mean that I can let my computer determine what altitude my aircraft is supposed to be at on the climb out. So in theory, I could probably spend my entire time below 10,000 feet, but I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably going to climb to about 14 or 16,000 feet to keep my altitude from going up too high, but I'm not going to be that low because I'd have to dodge mountains that way. So that's it. That's simple. We're going to go ahead and set up um, our autopilot panel, what some people call MCP, and we're going to set up our altitude. Our cruising altitude for today is probably going to be somewhere around, I would say, 17,000 feet. We're flying to the east, the northeast, but still the east, because the airport is due east of where San Diego is. And we're going to set up our heading for departure. The runway is runway 27. So the magnetic heading for this runway is actually going to be 275. And I am slowly winding this back. I would hope the dial goes a lot faster in real life. But 275 is going to be the heading for the runway itself. And um, I could, in theory, set up the speed for flight level change. And we would have to keep the speed somewhere around, I don't know, 250 knots. Well, you always want to stay at 250 knots or less below 10,000 feet, but I'm just going to give it a max, and we can keep climbing and get to our altitude really fast if you want to. I don't think there's any restrictions on the departure, but I'll double check it. Mm, nope, nope. And the top altitude for this departure is actually assigned by ATC, so we're going to give ourselves 17,000 on the departure out of here. Also, we are going to fly using instrument flight rule, which means we do need a transponder code. I'm going to give myself 2257, and there we go. The code is set, and my transponder is already on. Technically, it doesn't have to be, probably shouldn't be, but we're set to go right now. Nice. Okay. Well, I know enough-ish. I've flown this plane many times in the sim. So if somebody took me aboard a real Phenom and, kind of cleaned up after me, I could probably help with most of the kind of like flying bits that don't involve me actually making extremely critical decisions. But there's actually a surprising amount of stuff you have to do in an aircraft. So the proverbial question of, hey, can anyone fly a jet? Like, does anybody have any flight simulator experience? It's debatable, but it's also fun. So we're plugged into the GPU and we have the courtesy light on for a little extra light. I'm going to go ahead and turn on oxygen since the airplane is fully closed, as you can tell. And I'm going to actually tune in lock spot mode so I can pan way more reliably. But the airplane is closed up, and I'm going to, let's see, double check. We have gens on auto, batteries are on, and the PAX control is auto. And behind the controls, we have, we're going to go ahead and put the pumps on. And seatbelt signs are on. The ELT is armed. Hydraulic pumps to auto. ADS AOA knob to auto. And we're going to turn on window heats just because I like doing that. We don't need the inspection light or the wing stab for anti-ice. Nothing for anti-ice for the engines. At least I don't think so. We can always keep an eye on external conditions. Like if there's a lot of snow or rain and it's a particularly cold day, or even if it's strong rain in Texas and you're flying up to 30,000 feet. If you're flying through clouds, you might want to watch yourself with icing. If the temperature is the right way, you might be in a sticky situation. But that's fine. We're going to turn the ignition switches to auto. We're not going to turn the airplane on just yet. And I'm going to set my bleed to both. Cabin altitude is manual. Pressurization is auto. That means the airplane will keep up with me and pressurize the cabin as needed. We already have our flight plan set, and we're not going to worry about uh, what am I trying to say? We're not going to worry about transmitting on frequency. We're not on VATSIM. Although I might do a flight in the future on VATSIM again for you guys, since I like doing that every once in a while in P3D. And here we go. Panel lights on, upwash on, and nav lights on, strobe lights off. We should be good otherwise. And that should be everything. Now, since we are parked this way, it would probably be nice if we got a pushback. So let's get GSX to help us out here. Let's go ahead and request pushback and departure. And we're going to take airport terminal services, and we're going to have them push us back to so the tail's facing right. Assuming my sim doesn't crash. That's weird. How come I don't see anybody? Ah, that's because it just showed up over there. Also, let me check my volume control. Oh, snap. The audio for this is actually on my computer. So you guys might not hear much, but that's okay. They're getting a set. Why was that? Let me check my. Give me just a bit, folks. Let me see audio. Yeah, yeah, high definition. We should be good. All right, here comes the pushback vehicle. Thanks, folks. Appreciate it. They're going to get us connected. And again, tail right, nose left. We'll get rid of those parking brakes for you right now. Okay, GPU can go away. Now let's go ahead and turn the engines on. Ignition is already at auto. We're going to turn on engine number 2. Whee! That's a pretty strong shove. I might have to change my sounds up because for some reason the sound is not coming from my headphones. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Hang on. All right, let's go ahead and do engine number 1. It'll keep nagging me until I've got the uh, the engines started. Yeah, I apologize if you guys can hear the engines. Normally, that's set through my, you know, broadcast stuff, so I don't know what's going on. Um, stand by. All right, let me try this one more time. So, playback device, and microphone. That's better. You guys should be able to hear it now, right? Let me know if you can't, but this should be fine. I mean, if I was like a highfalutin streamer, then maybe the dual setup would work, but that's fine. Okay, probably the only thing you can't hear is the chatter from GSX because the the GSX audio for some reason is still using my speakers. All right, wherever you are, you here? You there? Where are you? All right, see ya. They're out. All right, let me put in my flight plan in active sky and cruise altitude 17,000 and just direct is fine. And now they have conditions for me. Yeah, it's super quiet. This should probably get you guys now. I'm going to adjust the volume level on my phones, but you guys should be able to hear it at this point. If it's too loud, let me know. It probably won't be, unless I do this. And the interesting thing about this aircraft is that the strobe lights do not have a switch. The strobe automatically activates when the first engine starts up, and it shuts off after the last engine shuts down. So let's go ahead and do taxi lights, and we'll do a very brief controls check. Left, right, forward, and back. Left and right rudders, and that should be everything. Okay, so pretend you're wearing a set of noise-canceling headphones and you're good. And if you really want me to, I can probably boost up the volume a couple of notches, but I don't want to do it too loud to the point where you guys have to reduce volume, because this aircraft is very shrill in terms of its engine note when you're on the ground taxiing or when you're flying or climbing. But we should have the taxi lights on now. We should be able to get going. We will release the parking brake and begin our taxi. Fortunately for me, today's taxi is going to be ridiculously simple because we are at the GA terminal on the north side of the airport, excuse me, the east side of the airport, which means Hotel Charlie is going to be my taxi route. And while I'm taxiing, let's go ahead and set up my flaps. I believe takeoff flaps is flaps 1. I could probably do flaps 2 just as easily, but I'm not concerned too much. All right, let me think. Am I forgetting anything? No. Seatbelt signs are on. We've got window heat set. Ignition switches are on. Air engines are running. We've got the... Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Hit the B button because I'm lazy. Now we have our altimeter set. Okay, now I'm not 100% sure what's up, but the synthetic, well, the the main pilot display on the left isn't showing me the ground, but I don't think this aircraft has synthetic vision, or at least this version of the aircraft doesn't work with this anymore. Normally you'd see things like the taxiway and stuff like that, generic versions of it. We're about 11 knots right now, the ground roll. And yeah, we are in, we're about to depart San Diego for Palm Springs. Over there is downtown San Diego, at least the default version of the city. And I kind of like having these panels available in 2D mode, but at the same time I know they can get kind of loud in your face. So I will shrink it down just so things look nice. We're going to go all the way to the end of the runway to depart runway length or full length. And as we prepare, I'm going to go ahead and turn my strobe lights on. I meant to say beacon before. The beacon light turns on when the first engine lights up. And now we can do this. But before we go, I'm going to hit the brakes and I'm going to check for traffic. There should be no traffic, but let's just make sure. Nobody here. So let's get out of here. I will turn the clock on. Okay, so now my timer is running, which means I am recording the time spent flying this leg, and we're gonna go. Again, folks, my apologies for not having the San Diego scenery installed, but at the same time, what you're getting is essentially a taste of what default P3D scenery looks like in the sim. And all things considered, the visuals or the vistas at San Diego, even default, are not horrible. So I'm okay with them. All right, we should be set otherwise. I need to turn on my flight director and my yaw damper. Well, I'll turn the yaw damper on once we get underway, but here we go. We're already at 50% and we're stable. Let's go ahead and give this toga. To each their own. All right, airspeed's alive. $70 knots. Okay. Start rotating about now. See if we can get some lift. And here we go. Positive rate of climb. Gear up. All right. Flaps back to nothing. And we'll turn left immediately. I'm flying the plane by hand right now. And let me see if I can trim the plane down a bit. That way I don't have to keep forward pressure on the stick for the climb out. And I am going to check my flight plan really fast. Okay, so I'm climbing at about 4,000 feet per minute. I'm going to turn the nose down a bit more, and we're going to start that left-hand turn momentarily. We are at takeoff thrust. I could probably climb to maybe even flight level 210 if I wanted to, but essentially it's probably not worth it. I will turn the nose down to build up some airspeed though, because I would be going way too slow for this departure. At least I feel like it. Most standard instruments departures that I've seen, even with restrictions, probably don't have aircraft fly slower than 180 knots on departure. I would probably be holding up traffic at this point. So that's not good. Yeah, we're going places. Okay, 180 knots, and we have our flaps fully retracted. Trim, I'm managing myself by hand, like I said. We're coming up on our first waypoint. On the departure, which leg would this have been? Show me. Okay. I think we would probably start making our left turn at this point. And I could probably follow the arc that it created, but I think I'm going to start turning very slowly, like I'd say 15 degrees turn. And we are way out over the bay and the air base. The thing that I like about P3D V5 is how it just paints the atmosphere more blue. It may be a bit unrealistic, but I like it. And now, because I'm lazy, I'm going to go ahead and hit the autopilot button and get this thing to fly the LNAV. So, let's see, autopilot, nav,
Autopilot.
and I'm going to do vertical speed at about 1,800 feet per minute, maybe even more. 2,400 feet per minute should be fine. And we are now heading towards Papa Golf Yankee, which is, what is that waypoint called? Poggy. Yeah. It's the San Diego VOR. It's also called Poggy. I'm not sure why my synthetic vision is really borked, but that's okay. We're good. So we are about 241 knots over the ground, and I'm going to increase my airspeed even more because I don't want to be... Oh, I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm past 10,000 feet. All right, so landing lights can come off once you cross 10,000 feet, and now I don't have to worry so much about exceeding 250 knots because that's a rule. Below 10,000 feet, you want to be 250 knots or slower. And I don't know. We're nowhere near the Julian waypoint, so I might increase our max cruise to flight level 210. Yeah, yeah, let's do that. And then once we cross 18,000 feet, we will be in the flight levels where atmospheric pressure is standardized. It's below 18,000 feet in the states that local pressure is used. Okay, Coffee Cup Arcade, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate having you aboard. I will probably still, excuse me, I'll probably still do some MSFS flying after this is done. So you might catch that on the VOD if you want to. But otherwise, take care, my friend. And thanks again for stopping by. I really appreciate you. Okay, so we are definitely bidding farewell to San Diego. It's right down there. Default scenery is not that bad either, so very nice. And we are well on our way out of the San Diego metro area to Palm Springs. I'm going to decrease my climb rate and probably make it something like 1,800 feet per minute. We don't have that much more to climb, so maybe even 1,600. We'll get some more airspeed, and then we should be well on our way to Palm Springs. Again, relatively quick flight, made longer by me, my own fault. But we are above 18,000 feet, so now what we can do is we can actually... Oh, excuse me. Don't know why my trim ran away with me, because that's because I hit that button. Give me a bit. I am... What was I saying? I took a while. I took a while. Where's the button for pressure? Is it here? Oh, here it is. Standard baro. We are at a pressure of 29902 millibars, or 1013 hectopascals. And that's it. Okay, and believe it or not, that's pretty much all I have to do. Although this plane does not have an auto throttle, so I do have to manage airspeed myself. You can, in theory, use flight level change and I think it works in part at least, but I don't actually. Oh, excuse me. You should be staying put at 21,000. Let me adjust that. Why does it not let me switch off in terms of 10,000s? Did I jump out of it off?
Autopilot.
There we go. Let me get back down. There we go. Let's get back down to 21,000 feet. Okay, now we're going to the Julian VOR, which is Juliet Lima India, that code right in front of you. And now we are way outside the San Diego Bay, and we're well on our way to Palm Springs. Fully anticipating a default scenery because I didn't install the San Diego scenery that I had for from Orbex. Any plans for V6? None for me. I'm very happy with P30 V5.3. I know the 5.4 update is out, so maybe I'll get that one. But in in um in a momentary lapse of restraint, I might buy version 6. But I've seen enough people fly with version 6 to understand that's probably not where I'm going to spend my time. So we'll see. Also, why does the... Oh no, the sim window's fine. Yeah, there we go. Sim window seems a bit squished, but that's just the perspective. I don't know if I have enough. I definitely don't. I definitely do not have enough room in my wallet for the purchase. I mean, there will be more room in my wallet, symbolically speaking, if I buy it, because that's more money I don't have. But I think I'm happy with V5. V5.3, probably V5.4 if I choose to install it. But those are default clouds. I'm not using the volumetric clouds. Enhanced atmospherics is on, so it has kind of painted the landscape a little bit, the sky and whatnot. But I'm not in a hurry to update this. V6 released, but unfortunately V6 was not the major engine change, Unreal Engine thing that I was hoping it would have been. I think they're still working on it, but I think it missed the cut for version 6. So maybe P3D version 7 is going to be a complete redo, and they're going to, have a much better engine for graphics. I think it would kind of be nice to see a return to form and have people want to buy P3D again. It would be cool, but at the same time, I'm not I'm not expecting them to go after the entertainment base significantly, unless that's what they intend to do. I don't know. Let's see. From Julian, how long are we going to go till thermal? Ooh, okay. So it's not that far out. We're at 21,000 feet. I need to lose about 17, 18,000 feet. We're kind of in a place where I might want to begin my descent now. And how fast am I going over the ground? I am ground speed at 385, so maybe about 1,600 feet per minute. Maybe 1,500 feet per minute would be fine. So let's go ahead and tune on down to... Oh, wait, hold on. Tune on down to, I'd say 5,000 feet. And we're going to descend at about 1,500 feet per minute. Maybe 1,400, just as a little extra safety to dodge those mountains. Yes, yes. I wouldn't. I kind of agree with the slick one. You know, it's like people follow the crowd in terms of people follow the crowd in terms of like add-ons and companies building airports. Thank you, Hawker. This is one of my favorite aircraft of all time, the Phenom 100. I'm a big fan of it. Big fan. It would be the plane that I would fly if I had the opportunity to do so in real life. But yeah, yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things where it's like, oh, um, what's the best way I can say it? We like being able to hang out with people. So if it's a new air traffic control network, a new flight sim, a new anything, um, there's a certain brag quotient in being able to say, "Oh, I've got the latest version of blah 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 blah." um, pardon the yachting voice, but if you're the only one flying it, especially in the day and age in which we're at, where we actually do flight simming as a group, then the question stops becoming, you know, hey, like, are you doing something neat? And it's like, oh, why aren't you here? So the Aeropask one, I don't have it. I don't have it. I do have X-Plane 11 and I do have X-Plane 12. I don't fly X-Plane 12 as much as I should, but I'm pretty sure the Aerobas Phenom 100, sorry, Phenom 300 is very good. So again, I'm not going to disagree with you. It's been over 2 years since I got my current sim rig, and I've tweaked and I've tweaked and I've tweaked and I've adjusted and I've adjusted and I've adjusted, and it is difficult to um, produce a reliable experience. I'm not saying the sim sucks. I like flying this sim so much, especially flying the Quality Wing 787 in inclement weather. But when you have difficulty trying to lock down um, consistent, smooth frame rates because of one or more things, it wears thin. It wears thin. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'd like this sim more if I was able to adjust the frame rate even more because the model matching in here I like. The Torque Sim SR22. Yes, you would be in the company of other streamers like Iron Condor Simulations. He is a real world pilot and he likes flying the SR22 a lot. Like, you know, it's definitely a case of to each their own. I know these graphics have seen better days. Like, I know that. Like I absolutely know that. I know that these graphics are not the heyday anymore. The sprite-based clouds and the not procedural. I'm trying to come up with another name for the textures. The texture maps that we have as opposed to the built-in the built-in the built-in ortho and MSFS, and even to a limited extent X-Plane 12 with auto ortho. Yeah, they're old. So it it literally does become, after a certain point, a question of, hey, are you actually going to um what we're trying to say? Are you actually going to keep using a sim that's this old? For me, there's still a limited use case because I'm big on nostalgia and I like the experience of flying an airplane like this. But Some people, you'll take one good look at X-Plane 12, one good look at MSFS, and you're like, yep, see ya. I mean, sheesh. Some flight sim streamers I know haven't touched P3D pretty much ever since the airliner add-ons got serious. Like PMDG 737, the Leonardo Mad Dog, the FSS, Embraer E175. There are plenty of folks that actually have just moved on. Okay, yes, yes. But in one sense, it represents in many ways what has been the continual problem of flight simulation for many years. The issue of being able to tie together add-ons and the ecosystem required to be able to, pull off flights and monitor air traffic control and have realistic systems and have aircraft that are modeled to the point where, if you push a button too many times, it'll pop open. It's just a wild guess on my part, but I think that did happen once with one of the older, I don't know if it was the Captain Sim of the Quality Wing 757 that actually had, failures built in. But yeah, it's a thing. I think the reason why they stuck with the same engine for V6 is because, yeah, reschedule please, not right now, in the AM. No, hello. Okay. All right, here we go. We're coming in, and we are coming in hot. So I can probably just take this in by hand, but I'm going to keep taking this thing down to the ground. I'll say about 1,000 feet, and we're descending at about 2,600 feet per minute. I should probably slow down at some point, but we are just screeching down to Palm Springs, which is way over that way. It's kind of nice down here. The Orbex North American land class scenery drapes certain textures on top of each other to obey or basically show you what a certain kind of layout would look like for scenery for this part of the country. And in terms of just using not random, but curated texture maps, this isn't bad. Is it better than ortho? Well, that depends on what you want out of the sim. If all you care about is having a semi-realistic approach and for you to practice, systems management in a Phenom or a Boeing 737, then cool. If that's not what you want, then you need to probably work on stuff. Let me check where we should be at in terms of VNAV altitudes right now. Okay, 3,100 feet. Right, so now the VNAV system and the approach is working to get me to Palm Springs. I mean, there was a time when P3D was riding the cutting edge of, like add-ons and updates and whatnot, and that was there for a time, and that was enjoyable. But it is not that way anymore. So that's that. Okay, so we're gonna come up over these hills and then turn right short final, land on 3-1 left, and then taxi off to the general aviation parking. Once we get up over these hills, I'm probably going to cut the throttle even more because this aircraft does not have speed brakes. It doesn't have thrust reversers. This is just going to be us landing and taxiing off the runway. Ortho with a good road network is more important. I would agree. I would agree. And I think even to a certain extent, the Land Class North America add-on for P3D and in its heyday FSX provided that. But if you're a VFR pilot and you want ortho and you want satellite imagery, with P3D or FSX, the only option was True Earth. And I think they did True Earth Florida, as I recall. All right, we're pretty close to the airport. Let's go ahead and cut the autopilot.
Autopilot.
Fortunately for me, I think the only thing I have to worry about is turning off the autopilot. But I'm going to, yeah, everything's off. Yeah, there we go. And VNAV's completely off. So, what's a good pilot to do on approach to a runway? Drop the gear. That'll give me a lot more aerodynamic drag, and I can trim, bleed some airspeed. Give me flaps 1. And I actually have never flown into default Palm Springs before. Looking a bit dry, but that's okay. That speed's looking much better now. I was going really fast earlier. But the frame rate ain't bad right now. I'll take that. Scenery detail is basically, I think, normal. Maybe dense, but definitely not very dense. And I don't know if I have any air traffic, any dynamic traffic in Palm Springs right now, so I'm okay with not stuttering that much. It almost looks like I'm not stuttering at all, which is very nice. Give me flaps 2, please. And I'll let the flaps kind of balloon the aircraft back up a bit as we bleed off even more airspeed. I am extremely shallow on approach, but that's okay. I don't care. And now we're fully idle. And keep the nose up and down. And here we are, everybody. Welcome down to Palm Springs. Parking brake release, and retracting the flaps, and we're going to get ourselves off the runway and onto GA parking. All right, I probably went a little bit further up than I should have, but now we're on the ground. And if I can see where we are, oh, we actually are where we want to be. This is golf. Superb. We made it, everybody. I'm happy. Actually, let me check. I think, let me see. Gear down speed should probably be here somewhere. Max operating speed is V275. Gear is 180, so I was 20 knots above gear down speed, so I'm probably going to have somebody check that out at maintenance. No, actually, it was just 6 knots above it. It was like around 180, 187. Yep, there's the default terminal over there, the tower. I'm happy. Did I have any air traffic on? Let me see. Yeah, I did. There just weren't that many planes here. There were no planes here, actually. This aircraft is by Coronado. Coronado produced various business jets for FSX and P3D, including the Premier 391A by Beechcraft and I think the Falcon FA50. And I think also the Citation CJ2 and maybe CJ3 or CJ4. Okay, let's um, let's stop the clock. Oh, look at that! I'm pulling into the fuel station. Hello. Not like I need it, but we're done. Okay, so a little over like maybe 28 minutes runway to runway exit, and let's go ahead and turn the engines off. Give me GPU and turn the ignition switches off and turn off the landing lights, strobes, nav lights, and that's it. Beautiful. Turn the bleeds off and we can turn off ADS AOA, hydraulic pumps can come off, turn off the window heats, and fuel pumps can come off. They probably could have come off when we actually turned the engine on, but that's okay. Um, for some reason, I'm not getting the dingy dingy sounds when I turn off the seatbelts. That's okay. Oxygen cut off, and that's it. Welcome down to Palm Springs. All things considered, I had an extremely smooth experience landing the plane. Frame rates were consistent, so I'm not in a hurry to reinstall stuff for the sim because, on the one hand, I like the Orbex version of the airport, but on the other, I also have MSFS. So, that would be the P3D portion of today's flight. Let me go ahead and exit the sim. This was fun. I liked it. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I should be able to exit Active Sky. There we go. We're cleaning up, and the other sim add-ons will go away, and then we're going to go ahead and take off in MSFS now. So, um, I started using P3D after I think most people started to actually get rid of it and fly MSFS back in late 2021. Before then, I was using X-Plane, and I'm going to change my resolution, which is going to make things go weird, but like 1080p for the sim because of the simple fact that it helps me retain a lot of frame rate. This is just going to look weird, but I think at the same time it should be configured for it. And I'm going to check my volume level because it shouldn't be that quiet. Oh, no, it's not. Great. Um, I thought someone actually created a Phenom 100 for MSFS at some point. I just forget who. I would like to fly that at one point. I believe someone made a Phenom 300 add-on, and supposedly somewhere in the World Wide Web there is lurking an MSFS Learjet 45, which people have cobbled together. Oh, which one is bad? Tell me. Was it the 100, the 300? Because as I thought somebody was flying the 300 on stream at some point, but um, I would like to see a 100, see what it performs like, and I definitely would like to get back behind the controls of a Learjet, any kind of Learjet, which is why I'm looking forward to seeing people fly the Learjet 3.5 again in the new sim. And I don't know. I mean, oh, the 100. Oh, say it ain't so. Oh, that sucks. I mean, maybe performance is in the eye of the beholder, but if somebody's saying that it's not good, then they may have reason. That sucks. Oh well. Well, there's always hope the Learjet 35 is going to be better. I want a 45, but I would probably fly a Learjet 35 just to say I could. I mean, I spent years flying the Learjet 31 in older versions of Microsoft Flight Sim. The Learjet 45 was introduced in Microsoft Flight Simulator 98, and it's a beautiful looking business jet. So I would like to fly that plane again. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I'm also, busy with other projects IRL. I was streaming earlier doing scenery development for an airport in Microsoft Flight Sim. You want a proper Falcon? Oh, I have a Falcon 7X in X-Plane 11, and I think somebody wants to make it for X-Plane 12 as well. The new Tomcat. Okay, okay. Well, it would be nice. It would be nice. 2024, is a sim with promise. It's the new kid on the block. So we'll see. Let me think. Where do I want to fly today? Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Yeah, yeah. My friend isn't around anymore, but I think we're gonna go ahead and humor him again. In VOD style, and do a discovery flight in Egypt. So let's set up the discovery flights and go to Giza. Just so Coffee Cup Arcade, if you're watching this on the VOD, we're going to go ahead and fly in Egypt for you, my friend. Eat Blur. Yes. RVG, welcome aboard. Good to have you. Ah, this is beautiful. The silly thing is that music like this makes me remember when I first picked up the sim and started flying and checking out all the places in the world you could go to. I remember. Woohoo. My trim. That's all right. Got it back under control. So there we go. The pyramids of Giza. And a helipad right there too. Sheesh. Well, the wonders of the world. The other one's below me. The Great Sphinx. We'll blow a whole bunch of, Egyptian flight guidelines and buzz this thing. Remember, kids, don't do that in real life. So, all right, cut the throttle, point the nose down, have fun. Yeah. I know. The trim was just like, okay, full down, you got it. No. All right, now we can bring it around again. 45-degree turn. And now we should be able to see the Great Sphinx. It's down there. We are humming along the ground. There it is. Has it really been 3 years already? Wow. It's been a deal, hasn't it? And yes, there's still plenty of things that can be changed and updated and made better. Pushing forward a couple months, you're right. I'm cautiously optimistic about what's going to happen with 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 2024. Cautiously, because you've now got a company with a major flight sim under its belt, um, and whatever lessons they're going to take away from it and apply to 2024 will hopefully be for the better. That's my hope, at least. I mean, one of the greatest accomplishments that I've seen in a flight sim in MSFS over the past, 3 years has been just the staggering amount of autogen that can actually exist in a simulator and not bog the frame rates down. Actually being able to use more than a single core and have an enjoyable experience flying a sim. It's been a biggie. These 3 years have gone by so fast. So fast. I am too. I'm up. Well, I'm not like ridiculously optimistic. I can understand there's going to be issues with the release. There's going to be issues with um, uh, y- maybe even minor issues with making scenery. There shouldn't be that many. But if they are really replacing the engine, or if they're making drastic updates to it, then there's going to be things that we're going to have to take into account. We as scenery developers. Um, but we'll see. I've never buzzed these pyramids, so I'm gonna keep flying for a little bit longer and see if I can see what these look like, and then go check out some sites in Japan, and then we will call it. This reminds me of flying a Cessna in real life. I did one flight for real, and definitely enjoyed the experience, even though the experience did not enjoy me, if you will. I I got to fly. My instructor landed, but overall, I'm so happy that I actually got the chance to actually go up in the air. It completely broke me for flight simulation. Not that I don't care about this anymore, but I don't care about this anymore. Like, I like flight simulation, but the idea of having a private pilot's license and flying friends and family around in real life is just exponentially better, as it should be, because it's real life. But I guess you could say, I will appreciate what I have for as long as I do. Yeah, yeah. I mean, who would have who could have possibly guessed? Like literally, I'm not even kidding. Who could have possibly guessed what Microsoft was going to do with the sim as a whole, their original platform? I mean, who better to take the flight sim platform to the next level than the people that put it there? I mean, they worked with Asobo. Asobo was the outsider, but they basically gave Asobo the keys to the kingdom. They said, "Here, make this better." And they worked over apparently what, 6 years? Yeah, about 6 years. So, in one sense, they they started when the old studio went away and created something which, rekindled flight simulation for a lot of people, myself included. I mean, I was flying FSX and X-Plane and P3, well, not P3D, but I was flying FSX and X-Plane and definitely appreciate the attention to detail now. It's good stuff. Like the atmospherics, the sheer amount of trees and scenery, the frame rate. And my PC isn't even that powerful compared to some people's PCs these days. So yeah, it's a thing. Hmm. Nice. I get it, buddy. I'm enjoying the experience. I'm still pleased that I got a chance to actually fly in the sim for as long as I have. I mean, I've been more invested in the sim than I have in other sims that I've purchased. Not financially. That award goes to like FSX. I've spent a fairly gargantuan amount of money in the old ecosystem. But I mean, the goal has been accomplished in opening up the entire or most of the entire world to experience. And in that respect, I think like MSFS is blowing everybody out of the water. Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. I think what makes me smile is when people that aren't into flight simulation see what's possible with MSFS. Or let's just let's let's pretend we're debating for the other team. Let's say um they saw X-Plane 12, fully done with full ortho and all the things. And they're like, is this real life? Well, yeah, it is. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's a sim. But I think MSFS will probably hold the crown for this generation of flight simming because they were the first to create a completely and utterly out of the box experience that people could just install on their computers, use without having to configure anything, and go to LA, Ginza, London, Singapore, Tokyo. We can go there next, and just enjoy the experience. Like, come on, who would have thought we would be seeing vistas like this, 6, 7, 8 years ago in a sim? We got close, but we didn't get this. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up and go into the other, I think. You know what? I probably don't need to do another discovery flight. I could just fire up a plane over the Rainbow Bridge. I was going to do some flying in an airliner, but I might do that offline tonight. So, what are we going to do? Do I want to go? We're going to go to... Going to go to... Let's see. Gonna go to the Gate Bridge at Tokyo, and what do I want to fly? Something fairly zippy but not too fast, but sturdy. A prop plane would be fine. I think a G-58 would be okay. That's fine. Again, I don't care about realism. I'm kind of just going for it. Live would be 7:48 a.m. I'm going to make it about 11, and we're going to do clear skies just to make sure clouds don't get in the way, and that's it. I don't spend that much time in Japan. Yeah, I, s- I, I've spent a fairly questionable amount of money on add-ons in the past. Um, it's nice to be able to not do that right now. Back there is Tokyo Disney. This is a Tokyo Gate Bridge, and downtown Tokyo's that way. Okay, autopilot's off. I'll flank the Rainbow Bridge on my right, and then we'll fly over downtown a few times, check out some of the spots, and then call it a day. Let's increase our trim. A little windy. All right, there we go. There's the Rainbow Bridge. And we've got loads of photogrammetry immediately below us. Superb. You're looking at downtown, right off my, I think like off my nose. We're gonna go right through, I think, downtown. I don't know all the parts of downtown. I know Ginza's somewhere around here. I just know there are a lot of buildings. A lot of buildings. Wow. I don't know what the population density is in Tokyo, but I would imagine it's quite dense. Like some kind of combination between New York and LA in terms of people per capita. I would have to imagine it is sizable. I mean, one thing's for sure. Um, no other sim has been as ambitious as MSFS has for, you know, custom scenery generation and photogrammetry. So it's definitely going to be something. It's definitely going to be something that they will have on their trophy case for a while, maybe for all time. I am pretty curious to know what the next version of Flight Sim is going to bring in terms of visuals and recognizable landmarks. But I mean, if we've covered this much ground over the past 3 years, I very much look forward to seeing what happens with the next generation. Oh man, I can't disagree with you. You've got lots of skyscrapers. You've got airports that are placed in various places close to or next to downtown areas. You've got uh, bays, mountains. The vistas are beautiful. So I totally understand that. Yeah, I'll probably be doing some kind of flying tonight. I don't think it's going to be on VATSIM. I think it's probably going to be back in Japan, or maybe not in Japan, but at least somewhere where I fly an airliner, just to get my quick my enjoyment or my fix in for a 737 or an A320 or something like that. With all its imperfections, MSFS has still turned the flight simulator community on its head, and it is still an amazing experience. Still, even with all the issues. So, from LA to Kadena, wow. What country is that in? Is that a country or is that a region somewhere? My apologies for my lack of understanding. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate that. there are certain things that I think about um, quite a bit in terms of possibly doing scenery development as a full-time job. Having the mental capacity to continue to create vistas or creating them to a more precise finish. And that's something that you and I have talked about on the Discord chat somewhat, but also the ability to do things like that on an ongoing basis. I mean, the world is finite, but fortunately enough, the way things work right now, there are so many companies that are creating sceneries, but they're focusing on very specific parts of the world. I'm sorry, very specific airports. So I feel like there's still plenty of room to create the kind of experience that is possible. Okinawa, got it. Got it. All right. Is what it is. Here we are. We're flying back over to, I think, what is that, Yokohama? I think so. That's okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it at this point. Um, Clearly, you can see the sheer, just mass of ortho that exists is just amazing. Not ortho, ortho, yes, but also autogen. That's what I meant to say. Autogen. I'm very happy. And this has been a bit of an ambitious time for me streaming today. I appreciate having you guys on board. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up and set up for a raid and hand off the controls to somebody else. And let's see who's on right now. It has been interesting and enjoyable. Thank you to everyone that stopped by today and to everyone that's watching on the replay. Huh. Normally this is muted when I open up a new window, so sorry about that extra echo. All right. Who am I going to choose? I would probably say, you know what? We're going to say hi to Defective Crayon. He is flying in X-Plane and flying, I think, a 727. So let's go ahead and raid Defective Crayon now. Folks, it's been a privilege. Have a great rest of your day. If for some reason I don't catch you during the week or in chats somewhere, or if I don't stream next Friday, which I probably won't, have a very Merry Christmas and a great holiday weekend. Much love to you all. God bless you. And like I always like to say, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace. And that is Jesus Christ. Take care and have a great day. Bye now.